So I get a lot of curiosity about the farms, or I run into members that have trouble, whether it be they lazy, or they don't have money, or they just don't know how or what they should be doing. So this is an overview. This is a level 20 farm, my smallest level 20. All right. You can see what I'm doing so far. I always get the power ore because sometimes I don't have time to send a march. But a lot of times when I have an extra march, I'll put them on the power ore. I'm in the process of making all my troops T5 or T7 and T6, the ones that are T4 and T5. T1, T2, T3 for a farm are good to have. You hide your high tier, use your small tier to farm. Nobody gets points or chases you anyway. I build one defensive march for each farm. So you can see that's what I'm working on. I naturally know what I'm recruiting by seeing the counts. So I really don't put any time into looking at my troops to be exact. But if you can see based on the drill grounds, I don't worry about GPS level because that's for monsters and it's rare that I'm hitting anything. It's good to do the achievements and get the free stuff out of it. Do your first kill rewards, this, that, and the other. Or if you have a lot of time on your hands, killing monsters is rewarding. But load level and resource machinery, medical facilities, of course, and engine level makes your marches faster so you're not waiting forever. You want to keep your wounded limit up as high as you can get it, at least above what your main march is. I have 181 troops here. 3 times 8 was at 240. So I can hide all of my troops. 2 marches and nothing dies. So this one is under 1 million power. The rest of them are above. This one was falling behind a little bit because it was my last one, of course. Some of my stuff that I do, you're seeing me do now without explaining. You see what I hold on to is stuff that'll come in handy later. I don't spend any money in the farms, but things like Brave Star, Major Morgan if I need to make my march bigger, but Brave Star for wounded limit. Tifa is just increasing my attack. Stormbow is for HP and defense. Aeon's always great because it's front line, and you use your odd tanks are your best troop load and speed, and shredders next to it, but the odd tanks are stronger. So Aeon's always good to have, but it's not a priority. So when I go in there to look, I see what's available. I'd take an Aeon if I had enough coins to do it. A Kingsley also, but we got a bunch of free Kingsleys in a recent update. This eventually I want to get to 19 so that I can have that 4th March availability without VIP. So anyway, so then I look. This is a mineral farm, right? So it can farm minerals. You would also want it to be processing minerals, but I already have 3 of them, and I don't end up being tight on mineral at this time, but I'm always tight on steel. So I'm trying to catch up my steel inside of my mineral farms, and that's also a residual income. I also always do, when all my marches are back, I'll do the main refugee march. So the first thing I do is I log in and I send that march to the highest refugee march I can. Then while I'm doing that, I'll clear my mails. I'll go and I'll do my donation, check if I have any institute donation. There's one. And then I'll do my elite zombie, which adjusts with the troop counts that I have. So if I wanted to start over with my preset here, because I never know what troops exactly I have, because I don't pay that much attention to it. Your shielders are a long range, so they will do better in your beast. Long range does best in that. So I can add 2 more. There we go. So then I'll just save it there. It doesn't have to be exact. It's never perfect. So this gets me, residual XP. Also, it'll get me some troop speeds, but I have tons of them because I never have to speed any troops. So, obviously, I'd be doing all this a lot faster if I wasn't trying to think of things to point out and show you. Next thing I do, and meanwhile, that march is still going to that exploration. Then I go and I look mineral mines first, because these are the only ones that can clear out mineral mines. These are covered. I already sent 2 marches to this level 4 that are covering that whole thing. And I need steel the most. So my next thing I do is look for open available. I must have lost that. No, I won, but it didn't show me. So it increases your refugees, so you're farming faster. Then I don't want to send the biggest march. I want to allocate my marches evenly so that in the same amount of time I'm doing more resources. Not, a little bit real fast and then a lot that takes me 2 days. I want to put as many of my own farms on the same mine as possible, and then in a couple hours I can come back and they're ready to do it all over again, and I've still achieved all of that resource. So I'll scroll back, knowing that I have plenty of march to send out troops. I'll scroll back the top load ones just so I have them later. So I want to make sure, say only 2 or 3 people go on this mine, I want to make sure I'm covering everything that's on that mine, so I don't have to go back and clean it up later, whether it be my fault or somebody else's. I just totally cover it. So usually I can definitely send 2 of my own farm to one good mine, but then there's always somebody or another, even all 5 marches are on that mine. So if I do half or a third, that normally covers it. And always have your troop load skilled, commander skills. I do down to recall all, and that's it, because it's good to have recall in emergency or if you just don't have time to fuck around. And I want to reskill this, but so I can get down here. In oil, I never have a food issue, but harvest is always good to have. So then that march is back, because normally when I'm going through this, I want to go through it fast. So waiting on that march sucks. So that's the first thing I do, is send that out. So by the time I do everything else, so you see how I scroll back my top load here? And then because these will take more capacity troops to cover the same amount. So I don't want to leave any troops at home, say, in case I want to kill or I want to harvest. So what I want to do is integrate some of the lower, the higher troop counts into the farming, keeping close attention to the load that I'm sending out. So then I look here and I see the size and what level it is and how many marches are on it. So this one is a level 3. There's 2 marches on it. It could use a third one there. There's not any mineral mines currently, so that need anyway, and I need steel the most anyway. And look, I've been talking long enough that I can do another free recruit. Normally I get 2 out of 3 in a day, sometimes only 1. I try and get on every day. The techs, your resource tech gets redundant at a point. A lot of this I did as I'm growing. You always want to do your outputs, because that's residual. That comes. Now, if I'm struggling with covering enough, if like my mines, I'm never getting enough. Like right now, I don't need to add troop load. I'm covering everything. So it would just be an expense. I would lose that 119k steel. I never worry about food and oil because I get plenty. I built a really nice alliance. Steel gather speed. Well, I never get enough steel, so really the speed of gather doesn't make any difference. So I'm not putting any resources into that. I do a lot of the little cheap stuff just to have them done when they really don't cost that much. Leadership is always important, because again, it helps with hiding troops and it helps with troop load, of course. So you can see all my oil and food mines are lacking. Those are not a priority. When it gets close to kill event, I get back on my hospital tents. The main hospital takes a lot more resources than shoring up all your little tents here. And what I found was that I only really need to bring them all to 14 so far for my bigger farms. 14 gives me plenty of wounded capacity. Right now I'm wearing intermediate medicine and basic medicine. Even though this is just a little green guy, it's better and safer to have that extra wounded capacity than worry about a bigger march at this point. My wounded capacity on this particular account is 82. Well, that's more than a march that I would leave at home. So that kind of covers all the bases. If it's a build event, I'll come back and I'll shore up all these lower tiles here. I'll just put a VIP on and use, because you get a ton of little 5-minute build speeds all the time, every week. So I might get my gold by shoring up some of these tiles, because they're doing work for you when you're not doing anything. That's what you want to focus on. You want to make sure your tiles are up and your tech for what your priority is shored up, so that it's doing the work for you. It's out farming while the city itself is producing. And the more you log on and shake it up, the more you'll make in a day. You can literally log on, take the 30 seconds to log in, shake it, and donate, and then log out, and it makes that much more of a difference than not. So if you guys have any questions, just leave comments if I don't think of something, because a lot of times there's so much I go over that I'll overlook something. I will do zombies when I have time. I'll do these because the prizes add, they add to the strength of the account, or add to what you can do. And I always, periodically go into my inventory and open there's a Brave Star. Maybe that just got me that officer. I don't know. And if I look, I can come over, manage, hit the middle, and no, not quite yet. I only need 2 more and I have that. So that's basically what you do. The factory, I only need it 19, so I have that. You only need 1 top tier. The rest you just leave alone. And at a point, you don't need to recruit anymore. So again, if you guys need anything, if I didn't cover something, if you want to know something better, but let me leave you with a few tips. It doesn't matter if you own the alliance or if you're buddies with the people. Donating is never something you argue. Always donate when you're on. You donate all the free donations you can. That should never be an argument, because the cost, even if it's mineral, it is not enough to cry about. You won't know the difference, and even if you had just that missing, it only takes 5 minutes. Come back in 20 minutes and shake your phone, and there's your donation. So make sure you get in a good alliance. I build my own alliance, and it's actually currently number 1 in elite mines. Let's see, elite mine ranking. I'm currently number 1. Territory is not the biggest. I'm 3rd. But elite mines is what matters for this. And then if I can own as many labs as possible, that helps. Here's one, and I traded out a military building for that, and there's another one down here. But you pay attention to the things that matter. And being part of a more active alliance means you're going to have better tech, more, so it's going to make your troops gather faster. It's going to make your castle produce better. You're going to have backup shields if you need it. Now, I put all my loyalty into getting more and more flags. And that's what I'm working on now, is the next flag tech. So I think I've dragged on, gave plenty of information. Again, just post or comment anything that you need. And thanks for watching, guys. YOLO.